Greetings, and welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm Drygyn, also known as Buzz. Today I'd like to do a review of this book right here, The Inexperienced Mage by D.W. Jackson, the first of many in the Reawakening saga. Now the setting of this book is in a time of a fantasy medieval style. You have swords, magic. Ooh, magic. The usual elements. Nothing too high-tech, no steampunk or anything crazy like that. The story takes place in a land called Farland, which happens to be a queendom, or in this case, a very matriarchal society. Now, what I mean by a matriarchal society is that it's a very woman-dominated society. The women are in charge. They're allowed to own the businesses, own property, and men are generally treated in a very second-class nature. For example, if a guy was to walk into a shop, he would likely pay around double what the lady would pay. And I have to say that I find this really interesting because it's a nice twist on a lot of what human history has been as an opposite. See, if you go back through a lot of human history, it's a very male-dominated society. And even today, women have a hard time getting equal rights across the board. Generally, women are paid less. There's a lot of laws and rulings that definitely don't go in their favor. And in this book, it basically flips that around and treats it the exact opposite. The men are the ones who are suffering, treated as second class, paid less, and generally don't have things going their way. And I have to say, it's really well done, because it's not treated as an overbearing political statement. There's not a lot of, stomping around, beating the chest, saying, this is how it is and how it should be. They're treated as how it's generally perceived for our culture, and that people just kind of accept it. You have your people that totally disagree with it, but by and large, people just generally fall into line and follow the status quo, even though it's wrong. Thankfully, though, it's very well done, and it doesn't come across as too much. You simply see it as the way that this land is. Now, a part of this also includes the fact that some men are sold as slaves. They get sold, they get branded, and they're then the property of the women who purchase them, primarily used as a form of entertainment. Now, these men are not poorly treated in the sense that human history has of slavery. In this case, these men are very well educated, striving to be as smart as they possibly can in a wide variety of topics, political, economic, history, math. And they're also very well taught on how to do sparring, archery. So when I say amusement, it's primarily as a go and perform. Go little peon, go and dance for me, ha ha ha. So now we come to the start of the story. We have our protagonist, a fellow by the name of Mark, who is a very intelligent and very well-educated person. He's pretty much at the top of his game, and he is a slave. And we find him on the day before he gets sold. So we get a little backstory, we get the experience of him being treated as an object and not really so much a person. And then he's sold. He has a nice chance to escape, which he takes. And then he discovers the long-lost art of magic. Ooh, Magic. Now, he discovers this in the form of books, and so there's a good portion where he spends time reading and learning how to do it. And basically, that point of the story is used as exposition for the history and the method that magic works in this world. For example, you can have a simpler spell, taking like a sword, for example, and making it unbreakable and with a super sharp edge, unlike this one. Nice and dull. 3D! Yeah. The old school 3D. You then proceed through the rest of the story as he tries to get by, learn more about magic, and about trying to get himself to a happy life. Now, as of course of all protagonists, it's not a simple journey of, oh, I'm just going to go through life. No, he instead faces a variety of challenges. And I have to say, for the most part, that the book is really well paced. The book doesn't drag its feet, as some stories tend to do, with a lot of exposition, a lot of environment building, and instead focuses on the story and the main character. And I have to say that the pacing actually reminded me of some of the Highland novels that I've recently read, in that you're basically tagging along with the protagonist at the pace that he's going through things. And for me, I have to say, that works really well, because a lot of exposition tends to kind of lose my attention. Now, I personally found this book a pleasure to read. It took me, I would say, between 2 to 3 afternoons of pretty much focused reading to get through it. Now, for me, that's a good thing. If I'm interested in a book, I have a hard time putting it down. And another good sign of a well-written book, in which this is at the end it leaves you wanting to know more. In this case, the book ends with a cliffhanger, and it definitely has me interested in picking up the next book to find out what happens to Mark and the situation that he was left in. So I would definitely suggest that you pick up The Inexperienced Mage. It's definitely a good book, and it's well worth your time to enjoy a good book. Now, you can find all those books on Amazon. If I'm clever enough, you'll find a link somewhere, maybe here, maybe there, or maybe I'm not clever enough, and then in which case the link will just be down in the description below. But I would definitely recommend that you check out this book. Perhaps you might find something that you really enjoy reading. Thank you for watching. I'm Drygyn. Happy reading. Really? Your words are not coming out of my mouth. And I'm looking at the screen right there. It's like the staple mistake right there. You look at the camera if you're talking to the people. You don't look down there. Because then they're going to be like, who the hell are you talking to? Dun 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 dun. Okay. No. Now, the setting of this book is in a time of swords. A time of swords. Really? That's the best you can do. This is gonna be a huge fail. For example, if a guy were to walk into a shop, he would likely pay. You don't get the sense of